Not much rest for the weary. Got another one tomorrow night here at home against a really good TCU team. I know they've struggled a little bit in our conference, but had a big win in overtime against Kansas, and a team that we struggled with here at home. And they're a big physical team, long, athletic on the perimeter. We've been struggling a little bit defensively here in conference, so we got to fix some things. There's not enough time really to fix things right now due to preparation for the next opponent. We had 3 games in a week last week and 3 more this week, and so your opportunity for days off is limited. We didn't do a whole lot yesterday, but we did lift, watch film, and shot, and then we went through TCU stuff. So today will be more like a regular practice, and then you got to get ready for another, rival. I mean, they're all rivalry games. I say that all the time. We got 18 rivalry games. I told the kids the other night, all you got to do is look at that other bench when somebody beats Texas. It doesn't matter what sport it is. But, we're getting everybody's best shot, and they've got to embrace that. And it's hard. I get it. I mean, we got 2 kids that played 20 minutes a game a year ago, and that's it. And so we got a lot of new, young, inexperienced players. Even our kids that played over 20 minutes a game a year ago, they played 1 year of college basketball, basically. I know Charlie's a junior, but she didn't play a lot as a freshman. And so it's part of it, but nobody's going to feel sorry for you. And we've got to embrace where we are right now and go to work. So I think our kids understand that. Again, learning to live uncomfortable is, I think, what we're trying to do right now. And if you can do that, I think you got a chance to be successful. But like I said the other day, you see it all the time. Comfortable teams get beat in athletics. Comfortable individuals don't grow. They don't get better. And I know as coaches, for me, I'm very uncomfortable this time of year. I'm constantly coaching against the ghost. I'm constantly worried about what somebody might do to me, what they could do to us in a game, how they might attack us. And so I'm constantly prepared for that. And so, hey, I love these kids. They're great kids. But again, we've got to play better. We had 16 turnovers against a 2-3 zone Sunday. We went 11 for 41 at 3 positions. You're not going to win at this level, shooting as poorly as we shot it and turning the ball over against a hope you miss defense. I mean, they're literally just standing there. So we've got to do some things better. And I got to, it starts with me. I got to coach better and teach better.
Roger, go ahead.
Coach, you touched on a little bit, but when you're into games like this, you're trying to do 2 things. You're trying to win games, but you're trying to kind of create your culture with players that haven't been around you and the staff a real long time. What kind of challenges, especially under the circumstances we're in with you coming in under these odd conditions?
It's extremely difficult because one of the real great things that I think we do as a staff is we get to know our kids. We spend time with them. They go to church with us on Sundays and come over and eat lunch afterwards. We have them over to our house for dinner. We can't do any of that. I mean, I get to see them at practice. I'll give you an example. I make our kids come sign my door in the office every day. And when they do that, I get to see them outside of the gym, outside of a practice jersey, outside of a uniform. And they get to walk by 3 full-time assistant coaches' offices, and they get to see how they walk, how they talk, how they dress professionally. And that's a great role model, a female role model for our student athletes. I can't do that. I don't even have an office. They don't even want me to go to the office in the Nez because of where we are right now. So I live over here in the Cooley in our coach's lounge. That's my office right now. So it's extremely challenging. And it's hard to, it's hard to build those relationships. And again, we got the job in April. I got no spring with them, no first summer session. In the second summer session, we had the first We didn't get to them until mid-July. So second summer had already started. We got 2 at a time. You did that for 2 weeks, then you got 4 at a time. You did that for 2 weeks. Now you're in late August. You finally get to have 5-on-5 in the gym. But we didn't have our connectrons until late August, maybe early September. So we didn't really feel comfortable then until we got them. So it's been really challenging to answer your question. It's been a big challenge.
Andrea, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. I know that you've had your challenges. You've spoken about them just now. One of your staples is making your defense be impactful, right? And your full court defense and your pressure defense. And just sort of looking at the trend over the last 4 games, that seems to have dropped off quite a bit. Can you just talk about that? And maybe can you change that and turn that back to what was happening early in the season? And how do you do that?
Well, I think one thing is, our opponents are different than maybe some of those opponents earlier in the year. That's number one. Number two, absolutely we can get better. You're absolutely right. Our field goal percentage defense is not good right now. It is atrocious. I do like our press. I thought our press bothered Tech. I think we might have had 4 or 5 second calls on out of bounds, 1 on the sideline and 3 underneath, and it may have been 5. So I think our kids are playing hard. One of the things, again, part of having a new point guard in Kyra and Ashley, they're both new. And they're both new to our system. They're also new to this team. One of the things when you watch us, and I'm probably the only one who sees it, but just a great example is you got a huddle after a free throw. Kids fix to shoot free throws. We shoot our free throws and make them. We get into the press and there's 1 or 2 people that don't know who they're guarding. So you got 3 people busting it in the press and you got 2 people running around not guarding anybody. Well, that's not good. How could we do it 5 straight times? You get a dead ball, a free throw. What are you saying in that huddle? And if you're saying it, then the people obviously aren't listening, because when we make the free throw, there should be like a covey of quail, 5 people going to get their girl their garden. And we had that at Tech. I thought our press was working very well, but then we'd have lapses where we'd go 1 or 2 possessions and we aren't in it. So that's part of it. That's the inconsistency of this team right now, which we got a bunch of inconsistencies. But again, Andrea, we got 2 kids that played 20 minutes a game a year ago. That's it. We got a lot of young players, inexperienced players playing big minutes in big games. And, there's no substitute for experience except experience. So that's kind of where we are right now. But our defense is a concern. We'll continue to work on it. I saw it. I told the kids after the game, I thought we had 2 good days of prep. We just didn't take it to the floor. We got every shot we wanted against Tech. Every shot. I mean, we got great shots. But when you got 3 positions on the floor that go a combined 11 for 41, you ain't beating nobody in the Big 12 doing that. And we had that. I think we were 2 for 11, 3 for 13, and 6 for 16. You're not beating anybody doing that. So we got to get in the gym. We got to make shots. But again, I thought we got the shots we wanted.
And just a quick follow-up. I think I heard you in the post-game say that Dee hadn't practiced in the 2 days prior to the game at Texas Tech. Can you just talk about Dee and who else? Audrey Warren and their status and how much they've practiced over the last week?
Yeah, so Audrey had worked out twice leading up to the game with contact. She had been in some non-contact drills. We don't do a whole lot of those. And so she had 2 full days of practice. Deanna did not practice, then was available for the game, played, but she's not going to play the rest of the year. She's going to have season-ending surgery. And so her freshman year is done. So, but having Audrey back it does change our team. That's a kid that knows, hey, I got to make shots. I got some really good looks and just didn't make them. And so she's got to get in the gym and shoot because that's not going to change. But she changes our team. She brings a different dimension to our team, and we're going to miss Dee. Dee provided some length and some athleticism and size that we really need. It's going to put a more premium now on Lauren. She's going to have to really step up and be more effective for us. I didn't think she was near as effective as she should have been at Tech. But again, you're talking about a kid that had sat out a lot of the first part of the season, didn't get eligible, then wasn't available when we came back from Christmas for 2 more weeks. So she's just now getting back to where she's doing some things.
Danny, go ahead.
Vic, what was it with Dee? What is her injury? Why is she out?
Yeah, she has a stress fracture in her shin.
Okay. Obviously, this kind of bleeds into my next question, but you so far have started 7 different lineups. And no, part of that's because of injuries, part of that's because people out, all that stuff. But I'm curious, do you have a starting 5 that you're comfortable with, or are you a coach who likes to mix and match depending on matchups, and there may not be a lineup you're going to start 10 straight games?
I do want a lineup I can start 10 straight games, Danny. that's preferable. Was concerned at Tech with, they basically played 4 guards and sometimes had 4 guards and a 4-player, and trying to protect, certain players that we have and keep them out of foul trouble. And so we played the small lineup a lot. We went to the big lineup a little bit. I didn't feel like it was very effective. And so we went back to a smaller lineup. Again, I didn't play Dee a whole lot because she hadn't practiced that week. And it's just hard for a freshman. It'd be different if you're a senior and you've been around and you know what to do, but it's just hard. And so, I would love to have a lineup. The thing you have to be careful of is because we don't have a lot of depth at certain positions, you can't play certain kids together. Because if you do and you get one of them in foul trouble, you got no backup to come in for them. So you have to be a little bit cognizant of that as well. But in the future, Danny, I would certainly hope we have a lineup that we could depend on and game in and day out, day in, day out, game in, game out, they're going to be out there and that's who you have.
I'm a little curious. Are you concerned about Charlie's number of turnovers, or is that part of the game with everyone focusing on her?
No, I think we're all concerned about that. She's concerned about it. We work every day on doubles and things like that. Some of hers, she wasn't doubled on Sunday. Some of her turnovers had nothing to do with the double team. And so, she knows that, and that's a competitive kid. She and I were talking yesterday. We are so much alike. It's really, scary to a point because she is ultra competitive. I am ultra competitive. She lives and dies with every good thing and bad thing that happens. If you watch me coach, I coach and live and die with every good thing and bad thing that happens on the sideline. So we're really similar in a lot of things, but it all comes back to we're competitive and we want to win. So it is a concern, but it's, again, I think that's just, you're talking about a young player. Again, Danny, she's only really played college basketball 1 year. Didn't play a lot as a freshman. And so she's into now her sophomore year, and really unfair to her, but it is what it is. She now gets everybody's best game plan. She's the first person everybody talks about when they're going to play Texas. Whereas a year ago, they might have been talking about 2 or 3 other players before they ever got to her. And so she's having to learn to live with that and adjust with that. And I've got to help her with that. So again, it's just all part of the growth of our team. Again, nothing's changed. I got two players that played 20 minutes a game a year ago. That's it. We got a lot of young players playing a lot of minutes.
Got one more in the queue, Andrea.
Hey, Coach, this week is We Back Pat week for Pat Summitt. Can you just talk about the influence she had on your career? And I know that there's some, the We Back Pat initiative is personal to you as well because of your mom. Could you talk about those things?
Yeah, so again, early in my career when I was assistant at Arkansas, seeing her teams and having to deal with some of the best teams in the history of the game. They were big physical teams. Rebounding, defense were just at a premium. And that's what she stressed and focused on. And, I always said if I ever got my own job, I wanted my teams to be like that, and so first of all, if you don't get off the bus looking like that, you can't be like that. So you got to recruit players that can look the part, and so that's the first thing. And then just coaching it that way, a tough, physical, aggressive basketball team. Again, y'all have heard me say this. That doesn't say anything about your jump shot. But if somebody describes your team that way, you'd like it. I don't care what coach you are or what sport you coach. If they describe your team as a tough, physical team, aggressive team, you're going to like that. And so that was her teams. That was their mentality. They were tough, physical, and aggressive. And so that's been something that has resonated with me, and I've tried to build our programs off of over the years. I think we've done that. Alzheimer's, as my mother got older and really declined in her health those last, few months, I was fortunate. I didn't have to leave my mother's side for 6 months. I drove back and forth from College Station to Houston every day. I spent the night in Houston, got up early in the morning, came back, was at practice, went back that night. I did that every day for 6 months. I held her in my arms when she took her last breath. That was, just to bring it full circle, that was, in retrospect, in keeping it in perspective, when I was a kid, I remember my mother was an RN, so if I ever got sick and was throwing up, a lot of people turn and run, they don't want to be around somebody puking. My mother would always hold my head while I was leaned over the toilet. And so it was, it was just appropriate that I got to hold her in her last moments and in her last time. And so, but to see her, go down and to see the things that happen from dementia with her, it's hard. It's hard on a family. It's hard on, it's hard on me as a son to see that. So knowing what Coach Summitt went through, and I know her family did, it's extremely difficult. So it is a special week. It's a great initiative. And, if all of us in this game can honor a true legend and somebody that's really, you can name a handful of coaches that really have made it where we can be are today. You can throw Jody Conrad in there, Tara, and another handful of other coaches. I mean, these are the people that went before us to make the game what it is today. And in Pat's case, in Coach Summitt's case, if we can honor her by how we play the game, I think that's what she would want us to do.
Got the last one with Danny.
Vic, Kim certainly drew some headlines for some comments she made on Saturday about playing through this pandemic, and the money quote aside, it kind of stood out what she said about feeling uncomfortable coaching during this pandemic. I'm curious how comfortable or uncomfortable you feel having to coach through this pandemic.
Well, I think anyone would be lying if they didn't say they're not. It's a different time, and you do have a little bit of uncomfortability. Some people have more than others. My concern is for my student athletes. We've been really fortunate, Danny, that we've only had one case during the season, and that really didn't happen here. So we've been really fortunate. I give my kids a lot of credit for that, but in the same voice, I'm going to say it is a miserable way to live right now for everyone, especially our kids. I mean, this should be the best 4 years of their life. They should be able to walk on this beautiful campus, interact with their friends. They should be able to have communication with their personal communication with their teachers. They should be able to go sit over in the tank and talk to other athletes and converse and, hey, how was your practice? Mine was this way. What's your coach like? Mine's like this. Hey, what are you doing Thursday night, Friday night? They don't get to do any of that, Danny. Can you imagine having a life right now where all you do is you get up, you put your computer up on your desk in your dorm or your apartment, you have Zoom classes, you go to practice, you go to treatment, you go home and eat, and you do it all again. And when you go home, coach has said, you can't have any friends over. Because coach said it because that's what the doctor said. You can't have any friends over. You can't have even, we really don't even want you to have family because we can't control where they've been. I mean, just think about how difficult that is. That's just a tough way to live, Danny. And it's hard, you know, for me, I'm okay with it as far as doing those, because I'm in this time of year, that's all I do anyway. I'm not out eating. We don't go to eat dinner. I mean, so a lot of nights I don't go home to eat dinner, you know, but for a young person, it's not fair. I think that's the best way to put it. It's not fair. It's not fair that this should be the best 4 years of their life and they got to go play in an empty arena. It's not fair, but it's appropriate because of what we're doing right now and where we're at. So, you know, what Kim said, it's probably not, it's probably, you know, she's probably correct. It's not incorrect. That's for sure. And I think, you know, all of us doing what we're doing right now, our first concern is for our student athletes. And you just look across the country. I mean, you had another team yesterday that folded it up and said, hey, we're not doing it anymore. And what happens, Danny, is because this is a sport, you are going to have injuries. So then you couple the injuries with the sickness piece and the quarantining and the contact tracing and all that. I mean, it's a lot. And it is so many outside things that can impact what should be a pretty benign deal, you know, but it's just not. So it's, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that feel the way she feels.
And on a lighter note for me, going back to what you said about being competitive and how you are on the sidelines, have you ever worn like a Fitbit or a step tracker to see how much you pace on the sideline during a game?
I'm not. You know, it's funny you say that though, Danny. I've been looking into these Apple Watches, you know, where you can keep track of that. They're a little pricey for me right now. I just need this $29.99 Walmart special to get me through my days. But you know, it is something that I've certainly thought of. But you know, again, it's just who I am, and it, you know, as I've said before, it's these 5 months every year. It's a, you know, it's a miserable way to live, really. But it's just who I am. You know, you're constantly coaching against the ghost. You're constantly worried about what could happen. You're constantly trying to prepare your team and make sure they're aware of everything that's coming. At the same time, now we have all this with COVID and everything else. And so it's a lot for sure. But hey, again, like I told the kids the other day, this is what we signed up for. When you got Texas on your chest, everybody's coming for you. And, you know, a lot of times, Danny, when that other team wins, it's like they won a national championship. But this is it. This is who we are, and this is what we all signed up for. Certainly what I'm about. So we got to wear it.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Praise the Lord and hook 'em.